Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. In our case, it's night time we're recording this, so good night to my peoples. Hello, hola, bonjour, bonsoir, however you want to pronounce it. It's another episode of Fully Booked. Here with myself, Mace.
Here with French.
Here with Pox.
And as listeners will know, if you're new to the podcast, we're reading Attached. It's by Amir, Levine and Rachel S.F. Heller. And before we start, we're on all the socials at full_e_booked on the Instagram. Is it the same for the Twitter, boys?
That's correct, yeah.
Same for the Twitter. I think we're on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
Facebook. If you've got the podcast app on your iTunes, on your phone, we're on that as well. So hit us up, follow, subscribe, all of the previous mention. So just to recap on what we've done so far, we've focused on attachment styles, or we've discovered what attachment styles we all are. We've thrown out a compatibility quiz for the listeners to find out what attachment style they are. We had some interesting responses. Some people making up their own kind of attachment styles: secure and anxious, secure and avoidant. People throwing all sorts. We had debates. We had all sorts of gossips going on. It was really, really good. People, thanks for getting involved. Today we're gonna focus on the 3 attachment styles in everyday life. So a bit more a bit more in depth to what we've done previously. We'll talk about anxious, avoidant, secure, maybe a couple of stories. It is a long chapter, so bear with us. And also, as usual, we may go off track. I'm sure Big French will rein us back in as he tends to do. I'm going to shut up and stop talking now, and I'm going to let one of my colleagues or sidekicks or partners or brothers, however you want to describe it, take the helm and kick off maybe with the Emily and David story that we saw in the book.
Yes, the story of Emily and David is the first one to come to light. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you want to touch on it before I jump in, P? Or
No, jump in.
Alright, so basically the story of Emily and David, in short form, Emily goes from a seemingly secure person to a massive... I forgot how to say it now.
Masochistic,
borderline
masochistic,
borderline personality traits. What happened is that she's met David, who's an aspiring actor. He gives her mixed signals about being together, which unnerves Emily. With this being done, this changes her behaviour, and in regards to changing her behaviour, she starts checking her phone constantly, checking her pager regularly. She starts tracking his activities online, even going as far as creating a fake profile in a chat room. And this is way before we had Facebook and things like that, so it was a lot more detailed, I'm guessing. But my first question that I was going to ask you guys is, have any of you heard the similar claim from a partner in regards to your actions causing change in their behaviour? Or have you been the one to change in reverse because of your partner's behaviours?
I don't know why that question's caught me off guard because we've discussed this before. I have no idea why this question's caught me off guard. Oh my god.
There's something lurking there. Let's lurk.
No. I think there's something definitely lurking. I'm gonna say yes, but I just can't think of anything specific at this moment in time. So I reckon my behaviour has definitely changed.
Okay.
Like with seeing someone or being with someone before.
Yeah.
Just with where I was at that where I feel I was at those moments and times.
Do you know, I let you dwell on that because I've actually got a couple. I've got one for me and one for a partner where it's evident the behaviour has changed because of something occurring. Right. So let me, Pox, you can sit back whilst the man just goes into my little stories here. Alright, so I'll start off many moons ago. I'm not this person anymore. I think I've mentioned maybe in a previous episode, if not to the man them that's here with me, my brothers. I definitely had an anxious kind of personality trait. This was many moons ago, and I discovered this when I was dating someone. I was very happy with them. Things happen, you're young, blah blah blah. And what actually happened was, I kind of, how can I put it? I remember this one occasion. It was one evening where the relationship was now it was starting to fall apart. Like it wasn't how it was at the start. Certain things have gone on and whatnot. And we were still talking. I think we were still in a relationship. And it was one evening where basically I had lost trust in my partner. for a reason, obviously. And before anyone goes out, before we all start getting out, look, I wasn't this good guy that I kind of, I feel like I am now. No, that's a lie. I'm a good guy now, and I feel it within. I can look at myself in the mirror with my head held high. I know that, yeah. But I wasn't always like this, and I used to play the game a bit and whatever else in it. Yeah, young, dumb, free, whatever you want to call it. You grow in it. You grow as a person, innit? So I remember there was one particular day or evening where I tried to ring my partner's phone, and she never answered. And I thought, that's weird. And obviously, because I already had certain suspicions of certain things, my mind started running wild, like wildfire, you know, just spread, like just running. So I said, nah, I need to answer the phone. So I rang, a message, rang. I said, blood, like, I'm working myself up in a sweat now. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay. And then about 5 minutes later, the person got back to me, and literally they said that their phone had just been upstairs. But then I realised that this whole situation was turning me mad. Do you get what I'm saying? In terms of, like, it just... Anyway.
It's changing behaviour.
Yeah. Long story short, we didn't last too much longer. And obviously, man was hurt, devastated. I'm not afraid to admit it. Everyone, I don't care whether you're a female, a male, everyone's been in a relationship or been in a situation where they've been hurt in it.
Yeah,
and
of course.
It helps you to grow. And it's better to experience when you're young, in my opinion. So I've been in that situation. I got hurt. I'm not scared to say that. So since then, it's helped me to grow as a person, and that's why I've come to the conclusion, or I've taken the test. Yeah. Based on scientific evidence, I'm now a secure guy in it. But I was dating someone not too long ago, and this particular person, this is before I had started reading the Attached book. Yeah. So this particular person, I didn't realise it, but I know for sure now, was anxious. In fact, they even said to me, I'm anxious. But you know, when it comes in, you're just like, oh, okay. Like, you don't really understand or grasp. You haven't grasped or understood it. Yeah. So this particular person was anxious. And just their behaviour was just, I couldn't deal with it. Like, 1 minute they're cool with me. The next, I could say one word out of turn or make the joke that they didn't get. And their imagination is just running wild. And I couldn't deal with it. And I was just like, in my head, I was like, what is this about? Like, this person ain't saying, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But now that I've read this book, anyway, that situation finished. And it was literally because, do you know what? I can't be in this situation. In my head, I'm just thinking this person's not all there, innit? Like, they're not the full ticker. So, but now I've realised it's anxious, and really and truly, like, they just needed someone like myself to be reassuring, to realise what they needed from someone in their life. Do you know what I'm saying? And I know within myself I can provide that, but I wasn't in the right place or frame of mind, not frame of mind, sorry, right place in my life at the time to provide what I felt like they needed in it. So yeah, I've kind of seen both sides of the coin, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
A flip side to that, French, I did have my own little question for the public, or our listeners, our fellow attached readers or non-readers. Have any of you ever been with someone similar to Emily? You don't have to be a male or female, just a partner who's similar to Emily. So Emily's story was, obviously, she met a guy, she was cool with him, he started acting a bit avoidant. Or he wasn't avoiding it. He started just texting her here and there occasionally, and that's what drove her mad to create all these profiles. Have you ever been that crazy person that's created fake profiles or stalked your ex or stalked a partner because of lack of trust, or just because within yourself you maybe were an anxious person? Or have you been the victim of that? It'd be interesting to get that answer. And Pox, that's first over to you.
Wow. I thought it was a very good, well, I don't say it's a story, but I mean, it was a very good insight also into your experience. I mean, I don't want to say I'm not necessarily good with stories, but I mean, I was thinking back to one situation in particular, and it's quite short, where I was seeing someone, and I actually remember when I first started seeing this person, I didn't think in any way, shape or form I was it's not batting up. I didn't think I'm not saying this person, I thought this person was better than me in any way, shape or form.
So you thought
you was punching above.
Punching above. So that's the phrase.
So you're middleweight, you're going up against AJ.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. So I probably no. I mean, at this point, I was becoming a bit more secure in myself, actually. Because at this point, I'm receiving compliments, X, Y, Z, all that type of stuff. So I'm beginning to feel myself.
He's in a P.
Yes. So at this point, I'm actually beginning to feel myself.
It's
but
now,
I've got reason. Now I'm actually stepping into to the heavyweight realm. You know what I'm saying? So things are now actually beginning meant to happen as such. So I'm seeing this person, and we've been out a few times and all that, and now we're actually getting to really know each other, like a bit more in depth in terms of our background, so on and so forth, family and all that type of stuff.
Okay.
So I think we've got to know each other probably really well, to the point where I think there's one in particular moment, I can't remember why she was, I'm going to say unstable as such, but it was kind of unlike her, because she was a very outwardly quite confident person, so I hadn't really seen these anxious traits before as such. So we're talking on the phone, and I don't know what she's complaining or upset about, but she's going wild, just just rattling off. And at this point I'm thinking, maybe because I'm stepping into a very secure person, and as I mentioned very, very recently, that I'm generally, in fact I've mentioned a few times, I'm generally quite a very simple person, so there's no need to complicate things. So she's rattling, just talking, like kind of screaming and shouting, and I was go, yo, can you just be quiet for 2 minutes, for 1 minute? I didn't say, well, I kind of said, I said her name, I didn't want to say her name. I said, yo, can you just be quiet? So relax, look, this is simple, this plus this equals this. And then there was a pause, and it was like, that's right. And then all of a sudden things were kind of like quelled, and things were a lot simpler. But the point I'm kind of making was, she was a very outwardly kind of like secure person from what I'd met and knew before actually really seeing her. But then all her anxious traits began to come out obviously a bit more following seeing her, and obviously getting to know her a little bit more.
What is there any other examples? You say anxious traits.
This one, oh my god, this one, oh my, so it's all coming out now.
Is it the same person?
Yeah, but this is bad though.
Alright,
this
you
is
better
bad.
Listen, this is fully booked.
This is
Full
bad.
_E_ books.
So this is when I was stupid, alright, so really stupid. This is gonna sound mad dumb, alright, but I'll say it. I remember like a really small part of this story. There was two things going on this day. So I was either going to see her or I was going to see one of my brethren for, I don't know what he had going on as such. I remember being a really wet and rainy day, and I was really heavily involved in football at this moment in time, so I was really busy, so I didn't want to make the time out to go see her. And what she had going on was like a big party going on with her and her friends and stuff like that, and she really wanted me to be there. Alright, so I remember her calling me like call it 6 p.m. ish, and was asking me, yeah, what am I doing? Am I coming? I just made this terrible excuse as to me not coming.
What was the excuse?
You know what? I can't even remember. It was shocking. It was shocking. The way she barked on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm washing my beard.
The way she barked on my phone. I thought, what's wrong with this girl? I put the phone down. Alright, probably about a week later, I'm talking to someone about it, and they're like, are you dumb? Like, clearly this person really wanted you to be there. You know what I mean? And really wanted you to be there. Maybe she probably spoke to you obviously spoke to her friends obviously about you, XYZ, so on and so forth. And I don't want to say some of her traits come rushing down the phone as such, but she mad barked to me. It was crazy.
That's more. I don't know if that's
not.
I was thinking that as I was kind of that's normal behaviour for some people, but I mean that's normal behaviour for some people. But what it did for me, kind of like just highlighted one or two things. Obviously, I hadn't quite seen before from her. So from honest, that was the beginning of the end. That was almost the end.
Yeah.
And French, have you got any examples being an avoidant? Because from the story, the fella, I forget their names already.
Emily and David.
Right, David. From the story, we know Emily was anxious. I think David was avoidant.
Yeah.
Being an avoidant, have you come across, knowingly, now that you've read the book or read some of the book, have you knowingly come across some anxious females?
100%.
And what examples can you legally provide?
What does that mean?
Fully booked.
I don't know why you're inputting legally. That to say it's anything illegal has done it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I've met anxious females in the past. One example, a previous partner. I mean, well, thinking back on it, actually, I don't want to say that's a violation. But when I think back on it, she was anxious already, but I just wasn't able to recognise those signs. So, again, after reading the book and finding out what behaviours would make someone seem anxious, I can now say, okay, a lot of the behaviours that I was doing would have caused the anxiety to come out even more. So, and at the time of my life, I was running around on the roadside, whatever, and I used to be a lot more vague with what I'm doing, and a lot more dismissive So it was a case of being non-committal to certain things. There was a lot of cold calling in my speech and just the way I talk, and I wouldn't commit to nothing. So it was a lot of pushing and pulling. So with that being done, her anxious kind of always phoning me, always trying to find out what I'm doing, became a lot more apparent. But it was because, and the more she done it, the more I was putting my hands up and kind of was like, I'm stepping away. Not literally, but I'll be even more vague the more you ask me about. So you're asking me what am I doing, I'll just say, yeah, I'm about. Do you know what I mean? I'll just keep it like that, I'm about.
So correct me if I'm wrong, just because it leads nicely into what I think is called activating strategies in the book.
Yeah.
And your behaviour, would that have caused her activating strategies?
100%.
Alright, so just for the listeners, whether you're at home, on the road, on the radio, in the gym, activating strategies are those which come into place based on the behaviour of someone's partner. So it's almost a cause and effect thing. Does that make sense, French, or am I way off the mark?
Yeah, no, it is. It is a cause and effect to an extent, but I think at the end of the day, if you think about it from a logical point, you should be able to control all your own actions and behaviours.
From a logical point.
Yeah, but obviously this is, it's all emotions, isn't it?
There you go. So an activating strategy, what happens is, especially for an anxious person, with French's behaviour where he keeps...
Why are you digging me up, bro?
Sometimes when you put a name with it and it becomes a bit more personal, people relate more. So
no, bro. Like, we're talking about David and Emily. Why are you just trying to fling my example into it?
It's funny actually because this
he's
one here...
just done the same thing now.
No, Ryan and Shauna is him actually.
Exactly. He just said the same thing. He's called someone to be anxious, but you're going to throw me under the bus because I'm an avoidant. No, I'm not even trying to...
Alright, so an avoidant person might cause an anxious person to engage with their activating strategies. And what that means is the anxious person, when they're being almost rebelled or rebuked or kind of shoved to one side, not getting the kind of
attention,
clear attention and clear messages that they need, it activates a strategy whereby they'll actually contact that person more, or they'll try to, and they'll overthink. They can't think at work. What else will they do? They'll just... It's weird because they'll know deep down that this person's not right for them, but at the same time, because there's this drama, they think this is part of what caused... They think this is part of what a relationship is. Which is why you'll often find anxious people think secure people are boring. And it's because of that. That's me.
Oh, I thought you was going to put a question out there.
I wasn't, sorry guys.
Okay.
Moving on slightly.
Yeah, go on.
With just the point I just mentioned about anxious people find secure people boring. The other thing which when I was flicking through the book is because avoidants tend to be in and out of, we kind of call them relationships for the sake of a better word, but they're normally flings, or when back in the day you'd say you're seeing someone, that kind of thing. This book actually highlights, it says roughly 25% of people on the market will be avoidant. And with a secure person, you'll tend to find that once they found someone that's good for them, decent, they won't be on the market. And if they are on the market, it won't be for long. So a lot of anxious people tend to meet avoidance, which is kind of what you find French to be.
Bro, I feel like you're just coming at me sideways, bro. Like differently.
Alright, I'll stop.
Nah, you
got quick indirect,
Nah, seriously, bro. You're coming at me like some crab man right now. Seriously, you're coming at me sideways. Stop that, bro. Stop. We've skipped a lot of ground there. That was just like let's just leave the book out and let's just start having a counselling session and just try to dig man out. I think we touched on activating strategies, but to bring it more closer to a relatable scenario, we can talk about living in the comfort zone and in regards to Ryan and Shauna.
What page is Ryan and Shauna, do you remember, in the book, just for our listeners?
Haven't noted the book.
So I'll find it. It's on page 85, guys. Alright.
Precisely.
But in regards to Ryan and Shauna, Ryan has an anxious style, and it goes on to say it's sort of like a sixth sense for attachment. And again, I think Maisie may have mentioned it in the anxious person being sensitive to change in the relationship or some kind of behaviours. So the more attuned you are to your partner's needs at the early stages, and she or he is to yours, the less energy you will need to expend to him or her later. The question I was going to ask, is that something that should come naturally, or is there some space to work on it?
I think that's space to work on. I think that comes with time and experience. I mean,
Yeah.
in knowing your well, maybe through relationships, but at the same time, obviously, in knowing your partner as well. I think the experience that Ryan and Shauna went through, Shauna herself might not have been aware of Ryan's traits as to how and when, and probably the extent of how anxious actually he was, because
Nail on the head. Nail on
yeah,
the head. Nail on
because
the head.
I'm literally just going to run through this, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I remember the notes I took down. The things I wrote is, yo, Ryan needs to chill out, like, first and foremost.
Hold on, what made you say Ryan needs to chill out?
All right, let me look. No, these are notes I wrote. So
I know fair
chill
dues,
out.
but
All right,
what in? Because I know what you're getting at. Listeners at home, what made Pocker think Ryan needs to chill out?
Okay, so from what I remember from the story,
Yeah.
all right, I'm assuming they both went away, or he was away as such. All right.
They worked together initially.
Yep.
So Ryan got to see Shauna at home, at work, blah blah blah. I think Ryan got a new job, which meant he was travelling more, or Shauna, one of the two. I think it was Ryan.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's where we're at.
So this is what I'm looking at. He felt hurt that she had pushed the ignore button on the phone. What's that? Come on, look, geezer.
Decline.
When things like that actually happen now, although like I'm grown up now, when things like that happen, I assume straight away that person actually just can't answer my phone call at this moment in time.
Yeah.
All right, and then I assume the person will explain later on why they couldn't answer the phone. That is it for me. You know what I mean? I mean, the other things that I kind of like to note on is I'm not in control. You know what I mean? I can't then go on to worry about what this person has done. Yeah, I can't go on to. Yeah, I'm just not in control of that situation. If that person is cheating on me, like if my mind has then decided to run wild, that person has gone, like, is doing whatever they're doing as such. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I just can't control what other people do. I like to control what I can control. Feel comfortable in myself as such.
Yeah.
But remember, you're secure, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Ryan is an anxious dude.
I know.
So you got to bear that in mind.
I thought it was wild. You know what I mean? Felt anyway. I mean, what other notes I took down? I think you mentioned this before, but I thought this scenario of Ryan and Shauna was very similar to your situation, in that obviously you ringing your partner and obviously with her phone up the stairs. Ex-partner, sorry, I do apologise. But I mean, as to experience and recognising bits and bobs, I mean, everyone loves a reassurance. Everybody, whether you're secure, anxious, or an avoidant, you know what I mean? And I think, yeah, reassurance obviously provides confidence, and it provides obviously validation as well. So me personally, I love a bit of validation and reassurance.
But in terms of having that sixth sense, the sixth sense to be able to predict or even be aware that your partner needs that, do you think that you should just have that, or is that, as you first said,
that might even come with appreciation? Because I think after a while of maybe seeing your partner, you might have a real appreciation of that person, you know, and it might be a case of, you know what, this person might appreciate me actually at least explaining why I had to reject that phone call. And sometimes I don't want to say it comes natural, but I think some of that comes natural. It should come natural, but at the same time, it comes with experience as well.
Yeah.
If you have to reject someone's phone call, there has to be a really strong reason as to why you can't answer that. And more often than not, you want to explain why you did that straight away to avoid that person's imagination running wild, as with Ryan's in that situation there.
Remember, you're thinking logically from a secure point of view.
Yeah.
This person obviously can't speak to me right now. No big deal. It's not personal. Ryan's thinking from an anxious point of view. Why is she rejecting my call? She with another? If she's with another man? What's going on? Why can't I get hold of her? She's normally available to me. I normally work with her 24. I can normally just go down to 2 floors and see her.
Cool. I'm glad you said that. So, like, if your relationship, if you're a very easy come, easy go person, and I hope this example is quite clear as such, you may not even feel the need to explain that to your partner there and then, and you feel you can probably explain that later on. Yeah. All right. But me, I think the way I'm thinking at this moment in time, if I was in a relationship and I was, I'm gonna say besotted with that person actually, and potentially in love as well. All right. I think I'd really want to explain to that person the first opportunity I got as to why I was unable to answer that phone call. to put their mind at ease, or let them understand, you know what, I can't pick up the phone now, ring me later on, or I will ring you later on.
Just touching back to French's initial question, then, do you think it's something that you grow into, or should you know from the offset, all right, this is how my partner is, this is how I need to be with them?
No, I think with your partner, I think you'll kind of grow to understand, but you'll grow to understand some of their traits, but at the same time, I think with experience, you may understand, you know what, I probably should let that person know this is the reason why this happened.
I think, just to answer your question, French, from my point of view, and because it's a personal point of view where I know now I've been with someone who's anxious, for sure it's something that you'll discover once you're in the relationship, and you'll learn how to reassure them, if that makes sense, or how to comfort them.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
This book, I'm telling you, if I ever met someone anxious again, this book is almost like the Bible.
Word.
Yeah.
Nice. Word.
That was an ad-lib of the year right there. Word.
No, because seriously, it's so much easier, rather than thinking your partner's just cuckoo, it's so much easier to understand where they're coming from in their mindset, and literally dropping a message. If I'm busy, dropping a message, if I get a chance to just say, look, thinking about you, give me half an hour, I'll get back in touch, or couple hours or whatever. So I was going to say couple days, I was thinking like French now.
She's definitely going to be wild in
Yeah.
That's a cheap shot. Because that's not how I get that.
Sorry, I'm going to stop now, sorry. But it's definitely, for me, French, it's definitely one of those things where you'll discover throughout, like, as you get to know your partner, what helps to keep them not in check, but keeps them happy. At the end of the day, if you're in a relationship, for me, you want happiness. You both should want happiness. Who wants to get in a relationship for mayhem and destruction? Do you get what I'm saying? And for happiness, there has to be some degree of compromise. You don't just fit like a perfect glove. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Listeners at home, same question to you, I guess, French.
Yeah, is that something that should come naturally, or is there some space to work on it, basically?
To work on your relationship and work on you as a couple.
Yeah, I mean, like, moving on slightly in regards to those behaviours, it's actually termed protest behaviours. I think we kind of muddled the activating strategies with the protest behaviour.
Okay.
So what the protest behaviour actually is letting your attachment system get the best of you. So things such as excessive attempts to re-establish contact, which you done in the story you mentioned, such as calling, texting, emailing many times, waiting for a phone call, as far as to go as loitering by your partner's workplace in hopes of running into them.
Never been on that. Just putting that out there.
Sound guilty. Has any of you experienced this, and how did you deal with it? Like, in reverse, because I know you've been the one to make those calls. Have you been a recipient of someone trying to constantly get in contact with you?
Yeah, same. I refer back to the story about the person I was kind of seeing briefly last year. So it was bombardment of phone calls when it kind of was. Do you know what? I feel bad putting this out there, but anyway, when it was kind of coming to the end, it was like that. Bro. It was a little bit like that.
Yeah,
it was a little bit. Well, it was like that. Yeah.
What about you, P?
Nah, I mean, like, recipient, and the reason why I say no is because I think I've always been very easy. If someone's ringing me, actually, I don't know if that really explains it, but if someone rings me, I'll pick up the phone generally straight away, and I kind of just break things down.
Alright, but cool, because I'm thinking of a situation where I've had that. Say you're out for the night, and your partner knows you're out for the night, and she rings your phone once, you don't answer. For whatever reason, you're out with your boys, isn't it? Then she rings again. Then she rings again. And I've had that. I've received constant phone banging off the phone. Like I'm not answering the phone, but I'm looking at the phone like, this is ridiculous now. Like I'm not going to answer this just because of the principle.
Like, it's now a principle too.
Do you know what I mean? You know where I am. You know I'm out.
So,
do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. You're saying about you're quite.
No, you've given an example in the situation.
The context is different. Good. So how would you deal with that?
How would I deal with it? I think I deal with it a lot different than I would before. Nah, I think I've always been like. I think Mace can be like testament to it in that I don't want to say I'm a pushover in any way, shape or form, but I'm very accommodating. I think I've been very accommodating, probably very accommodating now, but probably more so back then as such when I was a little bit younger. So I would have picked up the phone and probably compromised with that person as to just say that person wanted me to come home or something. I might have been compromising. I might even said I'm gonna be home a little bit early, or potentially might have went home. That's then. Now, if I've had this conversation and I've told you that I'm going out with people and I'm going to be out, for you to be ringing me and then wanting to protest and want me to come home, nah, I'm not having that, man. I'll pick up the phone. I'm telling you that.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not even too sure. Actually,
I was gonna say that didn't seem to be.
No. So I'm thinking back. So now, would I pick up the phone? If I've told you that I don't really need to tell you again, unless I tell you via text, I'm not having you ruin my evening.
Alright, to turn it
That's
up
messing
a
with my
notch.
mojo already.
Turn it
but
up
I'm
a
not gonna
notch.
lie.
Another protest behaviour, so withdrawing, which goes into being silent, sitting silently engrossed in a paper, or literally turning your back to your partner, for example, not talking or talking to other people whilst in your company. How would you deal with that?
Who still does that? We're big men. I'm sorry. Sorry. Do you know what? That got a bit personal.
I did.
Yeah, go on.
Why is everyone looking at me?
Because you're talking. Like,
No, but okay. I think even I've acted the fool and done stupid like that. But maybe in my younger years, who's got time to be doing that right now?
but women do that. Like,
What, big women?
Of course.
Dating big women, yeah? They do.
Bro,
So-
this is what the book's based on. This is not based on teenagers. It's for adults.
It's true.
It's adult attachment. So it's obviously everything related is
I'll
adults.
just leave you be. Literally, I'd leave you be and come back in half an hour and just, you know what I mean? Are you okay now? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I haven't got, nobody's got time for that, man. That's just childish. That is very childish, in my opinion.
So
Forget the attachment styles.
how you
Forget-
deal with it basically is walk away.
Yeah, how I would deal with it is, look, I'd be like, this is silly. Let's talk. We can't resolve anything by not talking. If you sort of be like, okay, do you know what? I'm gonna leave you be in the naughty corner, and then I'm gonna come. You know what I mean? We'll speak when you're ready.
That would, but if you said that to your partner, would that sound a bit patronising? I'm going to leave you in your naughty corner.
Can I say
I
something?
wouldn't say it like that.
Didn't I
That's
just-
what I'm
didn't I
thinking in my
just-
head.
Didn't I have this? We had this conversation the other day that you said that I was going to set off people by saying stuff like that. I'm going out and I'm coming back in half an hour. I'm just saying that's been repeated, but this time you said that. Anyway.
No, do you know what I was gonna go on to the next protest behaviour, and well, there's more, such as acting hostile, threatening to leave, manipulations, one of the big ones I think was making him or her feel jealous. So
These are all protest behaviors
These are all protest
related to the anxious style, the anxious person, should I say? They are.
yeah, I'm guessing it is towards
they are,
more
they are.
anxious. So making him or her feel jealous, such as making plans to get together with an ex for a lunch, and
Childish.
detailing about getting hit on that day or that night. Would you have a problem with any of that, and how would you react?
I might say, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
On a serious note, at this point, I'm wondering if I'm dating a 34-year-old or a 14-year-old. Seriously.
What's wrong with you?
No, I'm being serious.
Yeah,
Literally, I don't care what attachment style you have. What kind of childish thing you dealing with? I'm not even joking. That's how.
This
I'm
is
no, but
what goes
won't,
on.
We won't be hanging up. We won't. You're not around no more. Yeah. Guess what? You're not around no more. I ain't got time for that. I'm sorry. I'm grown. This is grown folks you're dealing with, man. I ain't got time for that.
Oh God!
I ain't got time for that, man.
All right, that's fair enough.
So,
Alright, so no, that's valid points.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out that people with anxious attachment styles are particularly susceptible to falling into chronically activated system situations. A study by Omri Gilaf and Sylvia Bunge and Carter Wendelken et al. Found fascinating evidence for this. Using the fMRI technology, they found that when women with an anxious style thought about negative scenarios such as conflict, breakup or death, emotional related areas of the brain lit up to a greater degree than women in other styles. What's more, they found that the regions of the brain associated with emotional regulation, such as the orbitofrontal cortex, was less activated than in women with other styles. This means that once your attachment system is activated, you'll find it much harder to turn it off if you have an anxious attachment style.
Mm-hmm.
Being secure, could you counteract that and take on such an attachment style? Or
Well, I tried and I couldn't. I think.
quite simply,
Yeah, I tried. I think this book, if it was the right person for me, then I think with the help of this book, what it's done for me so far, just an understanding different type of styles, I think I could personally.
Okay.
Would I want to? Probably not. But as I said, I think I could.
What about you, P?
Yeah, I think I could as well. And the reason why I say that is because I think I understand, like myself, I think we're all able to do this. I think you can all take yourself back to a time where you're feeling a certain way. And I'm sure, obviously, depending on your attachment style, as you've kind of like just said, those emotions are heightened, if that makes any sense, particularly if you're an anxious person. Yeah. So in actually knowing that, I think I will be able to counteract that. And I think just explain to the person that you're basing your thoughts and your feelings at this moment in time based on something which actually might not have anything to do with myself.
Yeah.
Does that kind of like make sense?
Yeah.
And I think I'll be able to reassure that person, obviously, with how I feel or whatever situation she feels a type of way of or from.
Okay.
Just me personally anyway, that's what I think anyway. Just because I understand, or I've been there before where you kind of, I don't know, what's the word? You kind of like take yourself to a place where you either want to feel a certain type of way or you do feel a certain type of way in terms of your emotions.
Cool. Moving on slightly, to go on for another example, there's a character called Emily, and like most anxious people, Paradoxal often ends up dating people with an avoidant attachment style, even though finding in adult attachment make clear cases for people with an anxious style going well with secures. And why is this so? And most importantly, how can you find happiness and avoid unnecessary heartache?
It's to date more secure people.
But if you can't find, if they're not, as you said, the dating pool is a lot more smaller for a secure.
Well, then take the book out of it. She needs to be alright alone and be alright. For me, I feel like before you start dating people, put this book to one side. You need to realise or appreciate you as a person are great. You can look after your own. You can look after yourself. You're not gonna accept nothing substandard that doesn't sit with what you believe in. Yes, I'm for compromise in a relationship, but I'm not for losing yourself in a relationship out of desperation. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, you'll find the right person out there eventually, but you need to be okay within yourself, because if you're not and you keep searching for someone, you're going to end up with these avoidants who are 25% of the market and they're out here every weekend looking for people like you, Emily. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, no, I think that's good advice.
Nah,
Got anything to add?
No, I 100% agree with that. In that, I think I don't want to say before dating, but I don't want to say before dating. I think it's very important to be, to know yourself and be comfortable in who you are in your own skin before I think you start dating. Not start dating, before you get into something really, really serious. Something which is going to take you towards marriage, dare I say, or something along those lines. I mean, I think there's nothing wrong, of course, there's nothing wrong with being anxious, avoiding, or secure, but I think if you actually know yourself and understand yourself and know, you know what, these things set me off and make me feel uncomfortable, that's actually cool. But as long as you're comfortable and you're happy and you love yourself and you know who you are and you're ready to be in a relationship, then I don't see that being a problem.
Do you know what, yeah? Sorry, I know, because sorry guys at home, as per usual, the socials at @full_e_booked. Currently reading part 2. We're in and around pages kind of 75 to kind of 95 right about now. I know this part of the book focuses on the anxious attachment style, but one of the things which you might be coming on to, but it's just it's just clicked into my brain right now. For those people that are anxious, those who are not but are interested in the anxious kind of attachment style, one of the positives that anxious attachment styles or anxious people have is that they can actually decipher, and I guarantee you've got this in your notes, French, they can decipher very quickly a change in their partner's behaviour. There was some kind of test conducted that it tested anxious people, secure people, and avoidant people. And anxious people were first to notice when there's a sudden or slight change in their partner's behaviour. And what happens is with this, they can pick up on when the relationship's not going well, when their partner's not happy, when something's on their partner's mind. The only thing is, because anxious people jump to conclusions so damn quickly, they end up kind of saying, what's wrong? Why are you not telling me? Blah, blah, blah. Whereas they just need to take a step back for a sec, evaluate a bit more, and just have a bit more of a relaxed discussion. Does that sound
Yeah,
right?
do you know what? It's funny that you should say that at the last part, because my next question was, what advice have you given or would you give to a lady in the initial stage of dating?
Big
Because
question.
what a lot of the books say...
Not just a lady.
Yeah, but
Man-
gentlemen as well.
Yeah.
But what a lot of the books say on relationships is don't be available. Say you're busy even when you're not. Don't call him or her. Wait for the call. Don't appear to care too much and act mysterious. So that's I was going to ask what advice would you have given, but that
Not that, to be honest. We're big people out there, man. Who's got time to be acting mysterious? You?
Masquerade ball.
We're not in our 20s no more. Where you know them games are kind of fun when you're in your early
Yeah.
20s sometimes. You know, like, oh, I've just received a message, but I'll text them at 9, like, just to keep them, like, you know what I mean?
What a load of nonsense.
We ain't got time for that no more, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go and get what you want, or if there's something out that you want, don't play no games, man. So,
what about you, Pete?
Oh my gosh. No, I was thinking of the first things that would come to mind if I was giving advice. Just be honest, man. Just be honest. Because too many people are lying. As Mace would say, you're too lying. You're too lying. You're too lying. Just be honest and relax and enjoy yourself. I can't even say if that's even good advice or not, but I mean, like, based on the themes of these people,
Yeah.
in some cases a lack of honesty, and not necessarily lack of honesty, sometimes people's imaginations are running wild and you're just assuming. Try not to assume, ask questions. Yeah,
that's a good note.
Yeah, no, it's a good, because it goes on, because I genuinely think it's a good book and it's a good tool to use.
Yeah.
But at the end of this part, it gives you a coaching session for the anxious style on a date. And
Sick.
the points being is acknowledge and accept your true relationship needs. Recognize and rule out avoidance earlier on. A new way of dating. Be your authentic self and use effective communication. The abundance philosophy, and give secure people a chance.
Give them a chance. We're not boring, man.
And, yeah, the final word is there's no one for whom attachment theory has more to offer than men and women with an anxious style. So with that being said, we can move on to
Avoidance.
keep and love at arm's length, the avoidant attachment style.
Alright, tell us about avoidance, French.
No, there's nothing to tell really. There's really
Rey
not much.
Mysterios.
Let's just skip this bit, shall we? No, the first bit that comes up into this part of the chapter. I don't know if you've got the page number to decipher it, but it mentions the lonesome traveller.
Page 109 for those with the book.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember the story, but just to touch on it briefly, it's a best-selling book based in the world.
Okay.
And there's a guy called Chris McCandless, who's a superior athlete who heads over to the Alaskan wilderness, and basically he heads up there with no one, and he goes by himself. He hasn't got any communication with anyone, and it transpires that the last few days of his life, he writes in his journal, should I say, happiness is only real when shared.
See that? Happiness is only real when shared. I said.
The thing is, I obviously, me being avoidant, whatnot, I definitely found the story relatable.
Touched you.
It was relatable. I wouldn't say it touched me. It was relatable in parts, but I'm actually willing to accept help. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be ignorant to no, I can do this all by myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas Chris, the character, refused help to the very last moment.
So basically, Chris went on some, like, he went by himself into like some mountains or Alaskan. Was
Yeah,
it?
the Alaskan wilderness.
Right, Alaskan wilderness. Went by himself. What was he doing? Hiking or some kind of mad trip?
Yeah, it's just on this kind of taking a trip into the wilderness by himself.
And
see if
people
he can do
offered
it.
him help along the way, and he refused and declined the help,
Yeah,
basically. And then
yeah.
he ended up dying.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons he died was because he refused help. But then, upon realizing he wasn't going to make it, he then kind of said, "Do you know what? All my life I've been like this, but actually, I wish I'd shared it with someone or people or whatever."
I could have told Chris that before he went to Alaska. That's the first thing I thought. So I remember this now. Something I could have told Chris this. I could have helped him out with this. For a man who's done some backpacking, I could have helped him out. Don't go Alaska. Want to get frostbite?
All right, but saying that, it kind of dwells into the reasoning behind.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
The
There's a
attachment
deeper
style. So it is believed that each attachment style evolved in order to increase the survival chances of humans in a particular environment. The secure attachment has worked best because throughout history, our ancestors lived predominantly in close-knit groups, working together, and secured future offspring. Those born into hostile conditions, only the fit survive mentality, and then studies show that if you have an avoidant attachment style, you tend to be less happy and satisfied in your relationships, apparently.
Apparently weren't in there. Alright, sorry Fridge, go on.
It mentions a character named Susan, and I get it, because it goes on to say, Susan sees need as a weakness and looks down on people who become dependent on their partner, mockingly referring to such situations as jail time.
Jail time, you know.
Yeah. So are Susan and others with avoidant attachment styles simply devoid of the need to meaningfully connect with a significant other?
I was going to say that Susan looks she needs a hug, man.
And if so, doesn't that contradict the basic premise of the attachment theory that the need for physical and emotional proximity to a spouse or a lover is universal?
I'm still hung up on the jail time thing. So, hold on, man's doing a stretch here. Man's doing a stretch in the whistle, sorry. You know. Hey, what bird you got? I don't mean female. Alright, sorry. Pop, do you want to answer that question first? Or?
Nah, Susan looks, I don't know, it's just based on you just saying that, she seems too strung up, man, and she seems tight. I mean, I ain't got too much to say in regards to that. I mean, she clearly, obviously, they're all into, I know you've kind of like gone into the backstory a little bit as to why people are like that as such, but I mean, yeah.
I thought the backstory was really important.
Yeah,
I thought the backstory was really important. It was actually really valid.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your thoughts on your own question, French, on the question posed to the people and to the group? Question.
So are Susan and others with avoidant attachment styles simply devoid of the need to meaningfully connect with a significant other? I don't think so. I mean, I would definitely like to be connected. I'm not going to go through this journey of life by myself. I would like to be with someone, but at the same time, I'm secure in being by myself.
Can I counter that question and ask you a question?
Yeah, go on.
As an avoidant, do you take more satisfaction out of doing things alone? And B, sorry, repeat your question for me, because another question did pop up from that.
I've got to find it again now.
That's alright. So just answer my first question first. Do you take satisfaction out of doing stuff alone and being alone?
Yeah, definitely.
So what type of stuff are we talking about?
What are you referring to? I mean, I like to travel. I've got no problem traveling alone. I'll go out and
Right.
I could go to a cinema by myself, and do you know what I mean? Like those things like that. I'm happy to do that. I'll go and eat by myself, whatever.
Right. We've all done some. I've been on holiday alone.
Yeah.
I went cinema in yards alone.
Yeah.
With man them ringing off whatever. But anyway, Pocket done the alone thing. But I think I know within myself, French, I would love to have someone there. But the thing is, not having someone is not going to stop me. But if I had the choice, having someone there is definitely for me.
Okay. All the time.
Listen. Whoever read that story just now about my man that was in Alaska, Chris.
Yeah.
Them 4 or 5 words, whatever he spat on that mic here, or wrote down on his paper, or whatever he done.
Yeah, in his journal.
Let me tell you something. That's nothing more relevant. That rests very close to me.
Yeah.
I always say there's certain places I won't go at the moment because when I've got a significant other, that I'm reserving that for them.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Do you know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah, definitely.
Because there's certain things I trust. Listen, I'm trying to think. Even alright, we're not in a no funny business. Me and P, yeah. But me and P went Colombia, yeah. And for me, that's something that me and P will share forever because we both went through that experience together. So there's always something there. And there's certain holidays I've been on with people, females and males. Maybe females I've been dating, males I've just been
with the
man them, yeah. But that's the one thing that not holds you together. But you've got something between you that no one else has got, and I proper like that. I like when there's that something there.
Yeah,
and
I like that too. I'm not gonna be in denial and be like, I don't like to go on like holidays with the man them, and I like to go on a holiday with my significant other, but I'm happy to be by myself. Like, I'm not someone that needs to be around someone for me to feel joyful. Like, I'm quite content being by myself, hence me liking my independence in such a way that there's something that I wouldn't change in my relationship. You know what I mean?
So is there a balance as to like a 60-40, 50-50?
What do you mean?
As to what you prefer?
In terms of being by myself or being with someone?
Yeah, like in these experiences.
That's a very good question.
I haven't even decided, because I've gone from maybe balance to Mason's just said something, said his piece, and I'm like, and now obviously you're speaking now as well, because I'm actually a little bit unsure, because I think it's definitely important to share experiences, but at the same time, again, as he said, like those special bonds, not even bonds, but those special experiences, those moments, like no one else is really going to understand them, barring you two. Whereas obviously I've done some backpacking, and although I've shared my stories, you will never really know because you weren't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Who says you weren't there? Oh, Cameron, you wasn't there. That's it.
Pause.
You wasn't there.
I'd say 50-50. 50-50, I was just thinking about it now, but again, if I get pushed into a corner to be forced to spend time and I'm obligated to do something, then I'll choose being by myself.
Wow. No, sorry, I didn't.
That was quite a statement.
Whoa.
That was a whoa.
Why?
You know what you said there?
Why?
Mind you, I think you had to use these words, but you use words like have to and obligated.
Yeah. If I'm feeling backed into a corner, then I'll be like, fuck it, I'll break out. I'll just be like, alright, cool, let's just not do it. Or not even saying let's not do it, but I'll be by myself if that's the case. But that's not to say I don't want to be with someone and spend time with them. Like, that's what I'm saying. It'll be 50-50.
But how much time do you want to spend with them?
What do you mean? When you say how much time, like, are we putting a certain amount of hours on it, a duration?
So, alright, we're going off track. We're going off tandem. Forget it. Alright, moving on. Please, French.
Yeah. Is there any other comments then or notes that you want to go around that subject matter?
There's a story about Joe in here. Do you remember that? It's on page 118 if you've got the book.
Are we going backwards?
We're going forwards. But it's something about his father constantly tending not to rely on anyone.
Okay, I think I've got it inkling.
Relationships, who needs them, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Jump into it, man.
I mean, what it does, or what Joe highlights, or what's highlighted with Joe, is that he has a strong belief in self-reliance, which I think you have, French.
Yeah.
But the only problem is, the problem is, it's the self part. So thinking you can do everything, or knowing you can probably do most things by yourself, but not willing, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to take on the world by yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that.
And that was what I wanted to touch upon, really. I just remembered briefly about the story.
Yeah.
Pops, you remember anything else from the avoidant part of this chapter?
No, I don't, if I'm honest.
What's the summary coming of the avoidant attachment style?
No, there's a lot more to go through.
Sorry.
I mean, like, you're talking about self-reliance and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Studies show that belief in self-reliance is very closely linked with a low degree of comfort with intimacy and closeness. The problem is that along with your self-reliant attitude, you also train yourself not to care about how the person close to you is feeling. you figure that it's not your task and that they need to take care of their own emotional well-being. That kind of relates to this Joe story, right? And one of the, again, probably it is me being avoidant. One of the first things that sprung to mind was, like, how can you really affect someone else's self-esteem? Why can't you be self-sufficient in a relationship? But I know that kind of is a redundant question in saying being self-sufficient in a relationship. That's a paradox in itself.
But you know what's mad, yeah? Why would you want to... No, you want to be... When I just see a relationship as two people coming together and almost becoming one. So if it's almost like the whole self thing. That's what's bugging me about that.
Yeah, but that's what I said. Now I can look back on that question without, well, that's kind of redundant because you can't be self-sufficient in a relationship.
The self thing's too close to self-ish. I don't know. Like
No, you're just relating self and selfish to because it's both got self. But my first question is, how can you really affect someone else's self-esteem? Like that was the first thought that came to me.
What, in a relationship? How can you affect someone's self-esteem?
I mean, in the
man. 100%, both positive and negative.
No, definitely. I think again after reading through it, it's given me a bit more insight. But initially, without reading the content, it's like my first initial thought, maybe as a quote unquote avoidant, was how am I gonna do it? Do you know what I mean? Because I'm very like,
you're very much hard to say wrong. Focus on yourself.
In lesser words,
Big bro, you coming home every evening telling your woman you can't cook or look at you don't even.
Yeah, but that's going down the negative route and downplaying someone. I'm not even.
All right, not even that then. Just not even saying anything.
Yeah, I think that that would be more sufficient. What?
I'm thinking, why would you not want to say nothing? I mean, and play the whole. Again, that's almost very similar to protest behaviour. That you're not going to say nothing.
But
I mean nothing positive to build up your female self-esteem.
So giving compliments, basically.
Yeah, man.
Alright. Oh, I see. I understand what you're saying now. Okay.
Another thing that, for me, I noted down was this lack of understanding in regards to that. Is this lack of understanding leads to partners of avoidance to complain about not receiving enough emotional support. And I've heard that a lot. It also leads to less connectedness, warmth and satisfaction in a relationship. And that's something I struggle with in terms of like how connected do you want to get? Like how much of me do you want me to tell you? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
oh, what is?
But do you know from an
I must be on watershed, but tone it down for the people.
What are you talking about, bro? You totally lost me still.
Alright.
yeah.
So,
but no, my point was being like, how connected do you want to get in terms of like emotions? That's because a lot of it's the lack of emotional support that an avoidant person will get told.
Fine.
And that can be for male or female.
I get random and people that they know I get deep with this shit, and I want to know my partner inside out. I want to know what makes you tick, what upsets you, what makes you happy. That's how I am in it. Yeah, I like that. For me, the emotional connection is the deepest thing.
Yeah,
P, how do you feel?
I 100% agree with that, and the reason why I say this is because I think with love, and again, obviously, we're still quite young. I think there are deeper levels of emotion that we still have not yet seen and been to as of yet as people. That's the reason why I really want to. I mean, I would love to get really, really close to someone, and I find it very, very difficult to understand why you would not want to be close to your partner, despite the fact what attachment style you would be. Because I was going to ask you a question like moments ago. Does one wanting to be by themselves make one relationship, as in your relationship, different or better or stronger or weaker than another? I don't know if that made any sense.
What do you mean? Sorry.
As in, okay, you're an avoidant, yes? And at times, obviously, you like your own time, you like your own space. And let's say you've decided you want to go on holiday on your own as such.
What's in a kind of relationship?
Yeah, so your relationship in particular, all right?
French is for the people who are French is laughing at my statement. Anyway, go on.
does your relationship? Can I say your relationship is either stronger or weaker than another relationship? I know it's very, very difficult to quantify because of your attachment style.
You kind of answered your own question. It's kind of hard to answer that.
So no, sorry. I hope I haven't put you in a situation I'm not saying you've copped out of the question, because that may well be the answer.
Not at all.
I think it depends on French's partner. And the maddest thing is, we missed a little bit out here, or we might be coming to
I
it.
don't like the way we just keep on this.
No, this
aiming
is
at me.
No,
like,
we're not, man. Don't be like that, man. Take this personal. Come on, man. It's all love in the building, man. It's all love. What I'm saying is, do you know what's mad? And it says in the book,
I'm used to it now.
an avoidant doesn't get with an avoidant or can't be with an avoidant. But if they were together and they both, without saying so, knew what it was, maybe their relationship could be mad, could be strong. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because they both like their own time. They both like to do their own thing. But on the other hand,
Both like to sit opposite sides and sit in the front room.
on the other hand, they might not speak for 6 months.
Oh, how are you doing?
You're done.
Yes.
You're done.
Oh, sorry, we got. Yeah, we
You're
are.
done.
We're done. Romeo.
Great. Anyway.
You didn't answer your question, but never mind.
No, but how can I answer that? Because it's like, how do I know whose relationship's stronger than? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't. How would I, as you said, how would I quantify it? It's very a vague question, so it's hard to give a pinpoint answer.
Going back to your initial question about the emotional the emotional aspect of the relationship. Yeah. Even I feel like you lot might think I'm bananas, bonkers, whatever terminology you want to use. When you get when you get emotionally deep with your partner, even the love making is something beyond. And French is once again looking at me like, man. But I'm not lying, bro. Like, trust me, man. When you're emotionally in tune with your partner, man, you're not just beating. Like, you're proper. You know when they say making, in the movies, I know it's all Hollywood and that, but when you're making, trust me, man, it's different.
P, what's your perspective on it?
No, I'll kind of give my perspective in that. I don't know why you'd want to. I don't want to say I forgot the exact question as such, but I don't understand why you would want any separation, or why you would not want to share. That's what we're talking about. Share your. What was it? What specifically we're talking about? Your experiences, yeah. Because I just think there's
but I'm talking about you're missing the point.
Okay.
The last question was in regards to how connected do you want to get?
As connected as possible. As connected as possible.
Hey, yo, now your palm, man.
Sorry. As connected as possible. I mean, as I said before, I feel there's higher levels of higher planes of emotions or attachment with your partner that you can get to that you have not yet experienced yet. As I'm 32, as a 32-year-old man.
Cool.
French, how do you feel about that?
What?
You seem to avoid that. The way you just. Cool.
How connected do you want to get?
Look, I. Don't make me laugh.
I can see tumbleweed going across the Anyway.
Yeah, no, connected, isn't it? Like, what do you mean? I want to get connected. I'll tell you how I feel.
Jesus Christ.
I'm hungry. I'm thirsty.
Yeah, that's how deep do you want to go? That's my point. Like, how deep do you want to go? Like,
as deep as can be for me.
Alright,
Take me
cool.
to the deep blue sea, ocean.
that's fine.
I want to be lost.
Whoa.
No, see, no, that's I want to
Whoa,
be lost.
them man there. Like.
I want to be lost. I want to be lost in love, mate.
Yeah, you carry on, boy.
No, not like crazy, but I mean, like,
That's what I'm saying. No, see me. I couldn't be on that kind of lost in love thing.
I want to be high, literally high as a kite, high as
Of
possible.
love. All right, cool. I mean, you'll get there.
Thank you.
What's that film called where the gets hypnotized and the black boy goes to see the white parents and that, and then when she goes, now what you say?
No.
Yeah, no. What is
That's
it?
not. You're talking about
Get out or something.
Get out, yeah.
No, get out.
What she say? Now sleep.
Now sink.
Yeah, you
now
wanna,
sink.
Yeah, you
That's
want to be in a
beating it.
sink. You want to be in a sink zone. You want to be sinking.
Yeah, you wait.
Not
you
that
get
lost. Not that
Now
lost.
sink.
But that's how you're talking.
Not that lost.
Alright, so
Alright,
moving
cool.
on slightly, so we don't take it too long. The coaching session for other avoidants, besides myself. 8 things that you can start doing today to stop pushing love away.
Give us a few. Give us a couple of them.
So learn to identify deactivating strategies. Don't act on your impulse. De-emphasize self-reliance. And when see, with
Hey, don't stop just there. Next one.
no,
Find a secure partner.
I was gonna get to that. I was gonna go back to learn to identify deactivating strategies and don't act on impulse. But what about your gut instinct? Like, do you not follow that as well?
Yeah, but bro, alright. If you're alright, let me put this down. French. As your brethren, yeah, your gut instinct, you know what it's telling you. Yeah, if you're an avoidant. No, real talk, bro. And if you no, real talk.
Yo, do you ever follow your heart? I'm always thinking logical. Do you ever?
Sometimes I wonder, is it French? Is it iRobot?
Yo, do you ever follow your heart? With everything logic.
Alright. People at home, yeah. So
I'm a logical thinker. What
listen,
can
I like
bro?
to throw this out there and again. It's at @full_e_booked. All the bants, all the rest of it. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on podcasts and iTunes, we're on Facebook. Any other socials? We're out there basically, yeah. Reading the book attached. This is episode 3. You can find episodes 1 and 2 on SoundCloud. You can find them on SoundCloud and all the rest.
And iTunes and all that good stuff.
Right now, so French, right, so where we were just giggling away at, French is basically on the part, he's on page kind of 127, 129 of the book, and he's talking about the 8 things that an avoidant can do to stop pushing love away. I like the fact he didn't mention that part.
I did.
He didn't mention how clear and with the clarity I am. And one of them, or a few of them, or one of them is find a secure partner.
And I'm with that. I'm totally with finding a secure partner. Definitely.
So what I'm saying,
that should be number 1.
you said something about it was brought up about following. You said do you not follow your gut instinct, but your gut instinct, we know what that is, and it's not to. You know what I'm saying? It's not to
repel.
It's to repel. And like as your boy, what I'm saying to you is that you just need to give it a chance, bro. Like there's someone out there. There's a secure partner.
I know there is, but we're just gonna move on quickly. So, number 4. Be aware of your tendency to misinterpret behaviours. So, negative views of your partner's behaviours and intentions to infuse bad vibes into the relationship. Number 5, make a relationship gratitude list. Your objective should be to notice the positives in your partner's actions. 6, Nick's. What is that one?
Nick's the Phantom X.
What's that?
What happens is you might fantasize about your ex-partner.
Yeah.
And acknowledge. You might fantasize about your ex-partner, but realistically, they weren't or was never the right person.
Yeah. Forget about the one, make the one, and I definitely believe that. That's something I'm with. I'm not really trying to have this golden one person. Do you know what I mean?
That's a start.
Cheers. And adopt the distraction strategy.
What's it? Give me an example.
That's what I was literally gonna kind of go into. I didn't make a note on that bit, to be honest with you. Oh well. I won't be using that one.
Well, why not?
Because I don't know what it is. It doesn't say what a distraction strategy is. No, it is. I have gone into it. I just haven't noted it down.
Okay.
I think it's a distraction strategy is
Allows you to let your guard down.
it's kind of sorry P. It's kind of if you like you and your partner booking a trip away together, like whether it's a hike, whether it's, even if it's a walk in the park, or whether it's something. Say French, you like football, you like going to football matches. It's them booking a football match for you two to go to, but you're thinking more about the football match, and you're not thinking about the time we're spending together. That's a distraction strategy.
Yeah.
Like you're going to watch the match, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to watch the match, but you're not realizing your partner's going with you, and she's getting to spend more time with you. Does that make sense?
Trick yourself, yeah. The last part of it, the section of the book, well, not the book, but this chapter is getting comfortably close, the secure attachment style.
Okay.
In the past relationships, was there any drama, and from which side did it derive from? And that's going to you guys being
You
secure.
never gave enough a little synopsis of Blood Clark.
You know what? I'm not even going to front. Because the notes that I had before aren't there. So,
I'll give you some.
I've kind of just jumped in with that question.
Cool. I'll answer in a sec, but just to give you some background, the secure person with secure attachment style you're kind of reliable, you're secure, you're consistent, you're trustworthy. You may come across as boring to some.
You are. No, I'm joking.
But you're not.
I'm joking.
Just believe in yourself, which we do anyway, and know that there is someone out there for you who will appreciate you, whether they're secure, whether they're anxious, whether they're avoidant. I think we've all been in relationships, French, or I'm generalising, but whereby there is maybe arguments or disagreements, and I've been younger, I've reacted to things, I've acted silly, I've acted immaturely, but I've said this before, the age I'm at now, I'm not going into something with first world problems in my head, like literally, how big a deal can it be if we can't talk about it? Let's act grown, let's talk about it, let's sort it out. If it's something, or if there are a number of items coming up which we can't get over, let's knock something on the head. We don't have to go hell for leather at war. Do you know what I'm saying? For the sake of, let's be in this thing where we're in this relationship and people can see that, just for the sake of having a label. I ain't got time for it. I'm at a stage where I would rather be single, alone, than get into a situation which is not right for me. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, in answer to your question, I've been there, I've had arguments, and I've acted silly, but really, you're going to have disagreements, but I don't believe in arguing. Why give headache and stress? There's enough going on in this world to be with someone who it's causing headache and stress. You're not compatible, but you so desperately want that relationship. Makes no sense in my head.
What about you, Pete?
Mason's just taking the words out of my mouth kind of thing, you know what I'm
Too
saying?
light.
That was a cop out.
No, it's not even a cop out. I think we're good. Like, I mean, I don't want to. I know first world problems is a phrase that he uses quite often, so I'm not going to just coin that as such. But I mean, I think we're in a day and age, and I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy as such, where, you know what I mean, there's a lot going on in this world. I ain't got time to be arguing over X, Y, Z or some really petty stuff. I mean, again, I'm a very, very simple person. Like, whatever the issue is, just please explain it to me so I can A, sort this out, and B, let's move on.
Okay, so which side did it derive from? Like, if the time that there was drama, whatever it may be.
Sorry, yeah, so going back to, because that was your original question, sorry. Me, I was a wussy back in the day, mate, so I would have just I would have appeased the person I was seeing.
No matter what side.
Yeah, I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you. Being very honest, I would have appeased the person, and I would have said sorry, and then we would have moved on.
Okay. It goes on to mention about the secure buffering effect, which means that if you're with someone that's secure, their nature, they nurture you into a more secure stance. So if being in a relationship with somebody with a secure attachment style is the holy grail, so to speak, what causes them to break down, would you say?
If being with someone who's secure,
is the holy grail, what causes them? Because you do get people in insecure relationships that do break down. Like, what do you think are fundamental things?
Yeah, but there's external factors apart from relationships which can cause them to break down. That's my answer to that.
Yeah.
You could have a death in the family. You could have you could lose your home. There could be a number of things. I think there's too many external factors for me to answer that question and be fair with my answer.
Okay.
A, I actually agree with that. Alright, now hold on. Alright. But B, I think there's times as a secure person, I mean, where you're going through things, and I'm thinking about something now. This is nothing to do with a relationship as such, but a relationship of a different sort, where you're discussing things with people, where your imagination can run a little wild, and you kind of have to check yourself and say, yo, well, why am I assuming for? Does that kind of make sense? And I'm not sure everybody has that sense of maturity where they can actually check themselves halfway through their imagination, like going left, right, and centre as such, and realise, you know what, I need to recenter and my thoughts as such, and then look at things from a different lens.
Okay. So as a secure, you believe that there are many potential partners open to intimacy
100%.
and closeness who would be responsive to your needs. You know you deserve to be loved and valued at all times. You're programmed to express this. Is this true for you, Pete?
Yeah, I'm happy to express my love.
The way you recognise the last 6 words of his question.
All I had is love. Now go on, repeat the question.
Jeez.
French, let me answer before you need.
Yeah.
Right, the first part of the question was about Now you've made me lose my train of thought. It was about us believing that there's more than one person out there for us, basically. And
it's a statement in the book that says, as the secure, you believe that there are many
100%.
potential partners open to intimacy.
And that's why, when we was earlier on in this chapter, and it said something about 25% of the market being avoidance, but a pool of secures being limited, it's because a secure person, we know that there's more than one person out there. And we're quite happy. Once we've found someone who matches our needs and requirements, that's it. We're off the market. We don't have to go searching and hunting and, you know what I mean? You're like to tour up the adventure. You must be mad. So I truly believe in that statement. I think there's more than one. There's thousands of people out there. It's just you just got to find one of them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I truly believe.
He's killed me because you know what I'm gonna say. you know
when a man's just straight up lazy. You know the man at uni that you say, right, what did you write for that question?
No. I wasn't one of these.
You know the man at school.
Damn man.
How did you get to that answer?
I wasn't one of those individuals. I think there's loads of different people out there for you. I mean, there's no way you can tell me there's
plagiarism in this thing.
No plagiarism. There's many
plagiarising a human, you know. Is that even possible?
In his face.
I don't even know what to say now because he's pretty much just taking the words out of my mouth.
Don't plagiarise. You can.
No. I think there's loads of different people out there who can. I don't want to say take your fancy as such, but I mean who you can potentially settle down with. There's loads of different types of mates out there.
Yeah.
You don't have. I mean.
Don't worry, I don't say anything.
It's alright, yeah.
People at home, yeah. For our anxious avoidance and even our secures and even our anxious and avoidance, do you think how do you think about love and relationships? Do you think there's the one? Do you think there's more than the one and it's just who you come across that kind of suits your needs? Hit us up, let us know. Are we wrapping it up?
Yeah, I haven't got any more questions.
Thanks for listening to Fully Booked Season 1 Episode 3. It's been a joy as usual with my guys. And keep tuned. We've got more coming soon.
Cool. Peace.
You want to say bye, Pox?
Bye. See you later.